the time to proceed further with our first panel discussion. And for that, I would like to invite first, it is going to be chaired by Mr. Saurabh Rai, CEO of Arahas Technologies. The panel will explore the role of drones in digital agriculture. Joining Mr. Rai on this panel are, first up we have Shri Karan Dhol, co-founder Theta Foundation for Development. Next up is Dr. Yogita Shukla. Okay, so once again, I would like to mention that the panel is going to be chaired by Mr. Saurabh Rai, CEO of Arahas Technologies, and joining him are Shri Karan Dhol, again the co-founder of Theta Foundation for Development. Next up, we have Dr. Yogita Shukla, CEO of Agio. Next is Dr. S.K. Yadav, Deputy Director, Horticulture, Government of Haryana. Keep it going for everyone. We can have a huge round of applause for all our lovely panelists out there. Next is Wing Commander Giriraj Punia, once again, former CEO Drishya on the stage. And last is Shri Hava Singh, Agriculture Drone Entrepreneur, Das Neelkanth Private Limited. Let's welcome all of our esteemed panelists with a huge round of applause. Okay. Do we have everyone here? Over to you, sir.
So thank you everyone this morning and my esteemed co-panelists for this very important session on role of drones in agriculture. Now, we did see glimpses of what drones can do. We saw different aspects on how drone data can be integrated, what are the possibilities from NIC, that number of groundbreaking and I would say work which is really matters for the people has been done in the country. However, despite the opportunities, personally I feel, and I'm happy to be proven wrong with my panelists, is that drones have still not found their right place for a variety of reasons. We'll limit this discussion on agriculture. So without much ado, let me jump into the deliberations directly. And I'll go, dear panelists, I'll go one by one. Perhaps there will be some common questions that I can ask all of you, and then maybe more specific to areas that you are doing. And then towards the end, we'll have a round of discussion. So perhaps let me start with you, Yogita.
Good afternoon, everyone. And we as a country, agriculture has been the backbone of our economy, and this is a sector which, though a lot of focus, but not so focus is being given there in terms of when we talk about the stakeholders, the end stakeholders is the farmers. And we should now think about how drone as a platform and as a technology can strengthen and enable those stakeholders. So we have to understand that for agriculture, there's a life cycle, which starts from planning and pre-planning. And then from that pre-planning, you have to understand what the sowing requirements are for that particular farm land, and then during the harvest, during the cropping season, there would be different requirements. So we have to understand the requirements for the sector from the complete life cycle perspective at the first place. Second is that we have to understand that drone as a platform, not just in the mapping, but there are other usages also of the drones which they can provide to that end user farmer. And not just the farmer, we have to also understand each of the stakeholders of that particular sector. So we have to start from the sector. We have to understand how we digitalize the entire agriculture process and then drill down from there to how drones can fit into that entire scheme of things. Once this is being done, then we realize that that is the piece of uh, place, where the drone fit in the entire puzzle. And this is what is not happening actually. We all have been getting the pieces, but we don't see the whole at first, and we don't put those pieces considering that whole. And that's why uh, that disconnect is there. And agriculture is a huge space where drone requirements are very, very large, because at every step of the life cycle, the drone requirement is there, whether it is, identifying the parameters of the soil or the water, even before the sowing or seeding is being done, whether that land is really required, eligible for that particular crop or not. That from that level, from planning and pre-planning to harvesting, the drone sector has applications. So we have to understand the complete picture, and then identify our place in that particular space. The other challenge with this sector is the land holdings, the average size of the land holding, which is reducing as we go in the future. So we have to consider that also, how we build together the cooperatives, the farm cooperatives, considering we have to give an end-to-end solution. So this is also one of the things that we should be focusing about, that how we aggregate the farmers who are the end users of the technology and the solutions to deliver them what they are actually needing. So, that's
just thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just one question though. Are there any examples that come to your mind as an NGO where you have seen such any successful POC?
So as I said, it's all done in silos. So you do a certain application for an integrated pest management. You do a certain application for, say, sowing. But there is no such thing where, you treat that farmland in an integrated way. So that is still lacking. And yes, there are successful case studies being done at a pilot stage, but a full-scale implementation is still missing in the agriculture sector. There are few organizations like Cropin, which have scaled up to, give those things to the farmers, but they are using a mix of technologies there. Again, it's not just one particular technology, but
Right.
it is a suite of technologies where they're delivering the solutions to the farmers, and it's on the subscription basis.
Sure.
They're delivering it.
So, which leads me to you, Karan. I mean, you do work again at a grassroots level. And do you see any regulatory challenges, or have you any case studies where actually this has impacted livelihood of farmers
Sure.
that you can share with
Sure.
the audience?
So before I come to that, I'd like to just mention that the government of India has done an amazing job in coming up with the right policies as far as agriculture and digital agriculture is concerned. Just earlier this month, the cabinet has taken 7 decisions, including the digital agriculture mission, geo mapping of the land parcels, the water availability, all of that stuff. And as the respected DDG from NIC had mentioned earlier, the surveys which are originally done for land and revenue can then be used for other stuff.
True.
Coming to your question on whether there's been a successful use case or not, the way I see it, we're currently working in the Northeast under the NEGPA, where we are looking at digitizing the land banks across the state. And simultaneously, like Yogita ji said, that right now it's the nascent stage, so you see different pieces. The puzzle yet needs to fit together. So, but as far as use case is concerned, I want to give you an interesting story. We create entrepreneurs in the rural areas, the drone entrepreneurs. And the basic idea is to convert them from chalak to malak, from the driver to the owner. And what we've seen is, one small story I'll share. We had hired a pilot, and we were doing some spraying operations for a pesticide company last year. And the pilot decides he wants to go home. He says, "Bhai ki shaadi hai, mujhe jana hai." So I said, "You can't leave, ऐसे थोड़ी जा सकते हो." Next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, I get a call, "Sir, drone ठुक गई है, मैं जा रहा हूँ." And then this pilot, he left my company, he joined another company, did the same thing there, joined a third company. So this is a use case on, and I want to add a little insight that my driver gave me today on the way here. He's like, sir, जब call center start हुई थी, तो गाड़ियाँ बहुत ठुकती थी. तो मैंने पूछा क्यों? So he's like, वो license दे दिया, और बोला चलाओ, तुम चलाओ गाड़ी. So inexperienced pilots are operating, and that actually created a damage to all the call centers. And if you remember, Gurgaon had to come out with regulations.
Yes.
So similarly, I'd like to say that while the government and all of us are working to reinforce and build this ecosystem of drones and technology, it's very important to make sure that we don't hit ourselves in the foot and try and jump too far too fast.
Thank you so much. So let me move to my remaining two panelists. Again, the question slightly varied. While I understand there are use cases in silos, I know for a fact that a lot of work is being done by IFCO. I know for a fact that a number of pesticides companies are using it. We earlier heard about the Vedanta support for certain, and we saw certain examples from India and agriculture. What has been your experience, and anything that you feel merits being called a showcase?
Good afternoon, everyone. If we talk about digital application agriculture of drones, if we just go 5 years back, even farmers were not aware and never thought that these drones can be used for any application in agriculture because they were not confident. But with time, like companies like Krifco, Syngenta, all these companies, when they came up with an idea that spraying can be taken up with drones and it can be effective also. So with this, farmers start using these drones at that moment, and today it is so easy for everyone. Like now it's a routine for farmers to do spraying with drones, be it pesticides or be it fertilizer spraying. But till now, as Yogita mentioned, that we are at a nascent stage. Yes, we are at a nascent stage in this regard, because till now these things are restricted in agriculture applications only up to spraying fertilizers or using for pesticide applications. Whereas one by two speakers where they mentioned Mr. Das Mr. Das mentioned about use of drone, use of LiDAR for agriculture application, and prior to that from Trimble, Mr. Amit Saxena was mentioning too many applications of drones for agriculture purpose. But those all require little bit knowledge and to a ground level. Now these things all are at experimental stage. Till the time the end user, means the farmer, understands these technologies, we will remain at this stage. And to get them at that stage, we need to make these technologies simple. Happy to learn that now these applications can be used with using their phones, on the basic, using their basic phones. That is what is required. Otherwise, when we talk about their application part, there are too many of them. Say, for monitoring the crops, it is a very good application. If we, if these technologies can be brought down to the user level, where farmers using a normal drone and a normal sensor at a reasonable cost understands these technologies, and then one can take take the data and take to the nearest lab and understand that what is the problem with the crop, and accordingly using the same data, spraying, be it spot spraying or where all the applications are required, can be carried out. For government applications, we can measure that how much is going to the yield. Accordingly, planning can be done. So phenomenal applications are there in agriculture, but the requirement is to make them simple, usable, cost effective, where the end user, that is farmer, is able to use these technologies.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Mr. Yadav, right? Mr. Yadav, being from the government,
yes, sir.
what is the regulatory environment? I mean, you heard all of them, including me. How is the regulatory environment supportive? I know Haryana came out with very ambitious plans for crop yield assessments using satellite and drone in combination. And there are a number of agroforestry initiatives that are happening. So how do you see the regulatory environment supporting the use of agricultural drones?
Thank you. First of all, I thanks to the organizer who invite me to speak over as a panelist, and I also work in horticulture department and Drishya also regarding drone services. So Drishya is the government body working with Haryana, and we have many other parameters also. At agriculture is one of them. As you see, the India, it's agricultural country, and if I bring your kind notice some data, if we talk about the safety issues, first of all, the human safety. If we talk about during 2000, we are consuming a lot of agrochemical pesticide per acre or per hectare. That is around comes up to 500 grams per hectare. But we have some extension service, some technology. Now we bring it down in 2020, 2024. It's around less than 100 gram. So this is only happening with the technology. Now the government have full focus on drone technology and digitalization in India. If I bring some statistics in your mind, recently more than 13,960 crore rupees has been announced by the government of India on extension service, digitalization of agriculture. In agriculture, we have various sectors like horticulture. If we talk about horticulture, it's plantation of fruit, vegetable and flowers. It's around more than 860 crores rupees are coming. And if we come to the Haryana state is leading along with Punjab in agriculture. So Haryana is the first state who start use of drone exclusive for agricultural operation purpose. When Giriraj Punia sir was the CEO under the leadership of Giriraj Singh Punia. And we have Nisha Solanki over sitting here. She is the first woman drone pilot here. I request raise your hand so that people will recognize you. So this girl started with the Maharana Pratap Horticulture University and conduct demonstration more than 300 hectares in Haryana. At that time, people are not aware about the drone technology. So this is the most difficult task. I share my success story. People are not ready to conduct demonstration even free of cost in the field. They say we are not happy, 10-liter water is not sufficient. But in the coming 2-3 years, we set the milestone, the people adopt the technology. But still health safety is still the issue. It's a big issue. Now the government of Haryana is also coming with another motive, the women empowerment. Because we have the biggest sector in Haryana is agriculture. And we have almost 50% population women. And still the women empowerment is lacking. So we come up with the Drone Didi scheme. And the government of Haryana has announced we go this scheme implemented by self-help group, women self-help groups, and we have decided 15,000 self-help group will be trained as Drone Didi, and drone will be given to that women on subsidized rate up to 80%, and that women will work as a custom hire center, and they set up a new milestone as women empowerment. As my moderator will ask about the regulation. Yes, of course, DGCA have the strong regulation regarding use of drone, but people are not aware of the SOP in agriculture. ICR has already developed the SOP, but people are not aware of that. So in Haryana, Drishya is also campaigning awareness programs to the regulation program. As such, DGCA, agriculture have their own enforcement. We have Pesticide Act 1968 and we have the Pesticide Rules 1971. By these rules, this is mandatory for every pilot. He must know the chronicle symptoms of agro input which is going to be spread in the farm. If something happening, some emergency situation incoming, so that the pilot must know what are the antidotes and how we overcome the situation. So enforcement and regulations are there, but still it's in promotional stage, so government is not applying force on this. So just in promotional phase we are doing this. So I don't take so much time because the time is a limiting factor. So I conclude here, and if we have some specific question, I will be back. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
So on this, if I add
Please.
something, like what Dr. Satendra just mentioned, that people are not aware. To make them aware and to make the regulations being followed by everyone, Agriculture Skill Council of India is on the job, and both of us are helping Agriculture Skill Council of India in this direction to make the courses, to make the syllabus, and Drisha is pioneer in imparting that kind of knowledge and information to the farmers so that people become more and more aware and the technology can be trickled down to the last user, that is to the farmer. Thank you.
Thank you. So you wanted to add something, Karan?
So most people are not aware of this, but last month a letter was written by Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance, all the chief secretaries of the states, giving an incentive of 1,750 rupees per farmer for the state to carry out GIS mapping and following the AgriStack protocol to create the data for farmers. That's what happened.
So I was coming on the AgriStack itself. Perhaps the next round, what are your inputs? I'm sure some of you have seen the AgriStack, the early designs. But do you see drone playing a role? Because I consciously saw a lot of role for satellite imageries, a lot of role for everything else, but I could hardly see anything for drone. So both in terms of whether it is employment creation, livelihood for a marginalized farmer, and even the regular crop yield assessment, etc., where do you see is the sweet spot for drones? If I can go just in a sequential order.
So the first potential I see, the first opportunity I see is once AgriStack is developed, for these these and other drone providers to be able to aggregate spraying opportunities and also to be able to streamline the procurement of the pesticides and the fertilizers. That is one thing where AgriStack makes it easier for them. And once the digital agriculture mission kicks in, the farmer will have everything at his fingertips on his phone. So from his phone, he'll be able to say, okay, I want to spray this or I want to buy this. And AgriStack will definitely help in that. That's one. Second of all, like you said, wherever there is satellite, drone can play a role. Most importantly in the multispectral space. So when it comes to identification of specific crops, like for example, barley and wheat, if you look at it aerially, it's very hard to tell, you know. So you have to look at the image indices to see where multispectral powered drones is the solution.
So I will add to it, not just in spraying or pesticides or fertilizers, you can have it right at the outset when you have to sow the seeds, you know. So you can do the targeted seeding using drones. And this is where we have to build. So as I said, the satellite will give you a broader picture. You have the aerial images also coming from the aircraft and helicopters, you know, drilling down to the because there's a large amount of data, you know, which is required, you know, when you do the multispectral mapping of the agriculture fields. You need a daily phenology to see the changes. But once we drill down to that level, to an individual farm level, we can have like even while the crop is growing, you know, you can identify the weeds, you can detect the early detection of your diseases on the leaves also that can be done using the drones, you know, because the computer vision technologies, you know, you can use those things. It is not being featured right now, as you rightly said, but we have to build those things in that AgriStack, that how in the whole complete picture, in the whole complete stack, the drone fit in, because it gives you the very zoom in kind of things. So granularity into that particular field. So,
and perhaps I can add to that soil moisture.
Yes,
I can add to that heat, surface heat. I can even add to that greenhouse gas emissions as well.
Yeah, emissions as well. Yeah, as I said,
Yeah.
we can build in all the solutions and applications across the farm life cycle, you know. So that is why we have to consider the life cycle of the farm. Even we can monitor the biodiversity and the index, the farm health index can be developed for that matter of fact.
What Yogita ma'am said is perfectly fine. That multispectral and hyperspectral, rather I would say it's a boon to the agriculture industry, provided it can be used by the common man. So applications needs to develop at that level where farmers should be able to use their basic machines, in this case I would say that on the phones application should be available where they should be able to segregate, they should be able to make out NDVI from that so that they can take preventive actions accordingly. So things are on. I am very sure in the next 1 or 2 years, those kind of applications will be there. And no doubt, this technology is going to help farmers in a big way, be it spraying pesticides, insecticides, or be it monitoring the crop health, thereafter measuring the soil moisture, and accordingly taking actions or precautions in this field. Thank you.
Sir, if you may also add the commercial viability angle, at least in short and medium term.
Thank you. If we talk about the commercial angle of drones in agriculture, the first is health safety, because the farmers are suffering a lot because of the disease. Second is the time saving and accuracy. By the use of drones, we can use the uniform spraying of chemicals, because in the biggest grain production is rice and wheat. And because of the faulty application, we have the pesticide residue analysis inside the grains. And while during export, the consignments have been rejected. So by the use of drones, we can make uniform spray in all crops, including fruits and vegetables also, so that the pesticide residues are also make lesser side. And if we see it from the government perspective, it's water saving. It's a huge water saving, 10 to 12 times water saving by the use of drone. And no doubt we make it compatible with all the crops. We have certain crops like sugarcane, paddy, mustard, where the spraying operations cannot be monitored or done by manual operations. So by the use of drone, it can be done. So this is the commercial aspect. And now I share one recent story last year in Bajra. Pearl milled Bajra is the major crop in South Haryana, and the height of the crop is around 10 feet. And it's very, this stem is very succulent. So because of the attack of the Helicobacter parmigera, we call this larva. So there is no other option is working. So only the drone is the viable option, and the farmers know the importance of the drone. So I think spraying of fertilizer, spraying of insecticide, mapping disease forecast, as the earlier panelist Dr. Yogita, Giriraj Punia sir, and other people also mentioned, by the use of different width of cameras, multispectral cameras, and we find out the forecast of the disease also. So these all are the commercial aspect of drones in agriculture. So thank you, sir.
So thank you again, panelists, for this wonderful deliberation. So to conclude, what we gathered here is, one, drones are needed for agriculture. The challenge for India is that the application is in silos. There is a clear commercial viability. Government is supportive. A number of programs are already in play, including potential of improving the agri-stack to make sure it is more relevant for drones. We could clearly identify the need of multiple technologies, including satellite data, multispectral, coming into play along with drone, which gives better granularity and better results. Needless to say, all the panelists have been very forthcoming and upright in terms of the challenges and the opportunities as well. Great to see the wonderful young lady drone pilot and the women drone pilot schemes that the Honorable Prime Minister has started, I think, last Independence Day. Great to see it taking shape. It will also provide entrepreneurship. It will also provide rural livelihood. It will also work in favor of both large-scale mapping and decision-making. So thank you once again, panelists. Great deliberating with you, and look forward to the drone revolution in agriculture in India.
I would like to ask one question.
Please.
The question is about, this is all about only spraying, someone saying about the pesticides and all this. And still now, I am core into remote sensing guy. So I will put on one question. Still, I mean, the research institute, they look into for crop monitoring or crop forecasting, what's in a volumetric return in terms of either cotton or rice or whatever is. Still, people more rely into the remote sensing satellite data to be interpreted because of one limitation being an understanding is that the appropriate sensor are not used in drone, multispectral drones are not used to calculate the NDVIs for the vegetation index calculations. That will help more towards the farmers to understand when they cultivate after a month and two, they should come to know what is an amount of returns they are going to. So where do we stand in drone application, especially processing as well as in sensor? Please.
Let me give you, sir, a share my own experience exactly on this point. I was deliberating for last 6-7 years or so using NDVI with satellite and can we augment it with drones, so on and so forth. I won't name the state, but we did a POC. See, drone data has added a lot of value to NDVI generated from a multispectral satellite imagery. I can share my personal experience without naming the state. However, you are very right that most of the commercial drones in play as of today do not have the sensors, and again, probably this is the time when the whole agri stack needs to be structured in a fashion that such sensors are needed in the regular drones so that more minute, better granular NDVI can be done. Yogita, I wanted to add something.
Yeah. So the other thing is that the crop cycle and the phenology, you need daily data for that, almost, because if you have to go through the life cycle of that particular crop, even not daily, but at least weekly, that data has to be provided. Now, satellite has this advantage where you get huge amount of data, but the storage, or what you can say, the compression of the data is so good that you can do the analytics over it, and which is not currently available with drone data. Multispectral data is available with drone, but the amount of data which you capture from drone is too big in terms of providing those analytics. So this is what I said, that we have to combine both the technologies, where satellite, they give you the change in a weekly kind of a thing, and wherever you find that shift in the NDVI, there is where drone go deeper down into it and capture that. So this bridging has to be done, which is not done currently.
Thank you. I got an answer because that's what actually
Yeah.
Punya said asked the questions. No, I mean how it will be very simplified through cell phones and all that. Unless and until government will make it free of the satellites to the farmers, and where farmer can nowadays farmers are affording to fly in drone and something, they will get it bi-weekly and something. If all these things will collaborate, the sector will work together. It's not only drone will help to the farmers. That's why I am asked these questions. It's also the combination of multispectrals like AVIs and something from wherever NDVI calculations we are getting, that will help the farmers to get a complete facilities about them, because that technology they do not know for forecasting of the crops. They just know, okay, pesticides to be sprayed, or that is going to happen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So one last question, please. Thank you.
Congratulations to the panelists, and it's been a very thought-provoking discussion on agri applications of drones. I want to give a feedback on what we faced, the pain points what we faced. I'm working for Indrone Aerospace Systems in Bangalore. We embarked on agri application of drones in a big way through some agriculture university in Raichur and Bijapur. We went for promotions. We did free of free demos and all that to bring awareness to the farmers. But what we felt is we offered 800 rupees per acre. That is the cost. If the acre is higher, it will come down to around 600 rupees, because the cost involved is fixed cost of taking a number of people, flying drone pilot cost, transportation, stay, etc. So even with 800 rupee discounted price, not many people are coming to agri spraying of using drones. So that is one thing. There is a different mindset amongst the farmers. And secondly, as you brought out, land holdings are so small, it doesn't work out, because manual spraying is easier and time-tested method for them. They want to fall back on that because land holdings are less. But drone application will be viable when land holdings are big. Second thing is, Uh, the lurking danger of aerosol, it is basically aerosol getting dispersed in the air. There is a endosulfan menace in Mangalore and Karnataka, Dakshin Kannada, where still children born with disabilities, because of endosulfan poisoning. Okay, so how to address this? Probably the drone regulations will help. 1960, 1978, our what you call the learned panelists said that there are some regulations, but they're not percolated down to the field level. People are not aware. Everybody says drone has become like a like a tall blind man discussing describing an elephant. People who see only a small picture, they don't have the whole picture. Now, last thing I would like to tell you is that uh, this physical experience, we were offering 800 rupees per acre. Somebody from Coorg said that I have called a drone person and I did some 100 acres for 10,000 rupees. So then we asked him, what did you do? So he came and Arakanat, farm is there, and I am big landholder, and estate is there, and I'll quickly finish it off. So he said we used and we called him and we sprayed drone and we paid him. Then the main point here was the application and the understanding of the areca crop. The areca nut crop, the pesticide and the what you call that a pest which attacks the crop at the root, at the ground level. So what drone can do there? So these are the issues which have to be addressed. That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. These are very educative points and very practical. Thank you for sharing with the group. And let me add, the same farmer will happily pay 800 rupees for flying a drone in his daughter's marriage. So it's also a matter of education. It's also a matter of educating the farmer on the benefits. And I guess all the learned panelists already mentioned how and why this education needs to be given and how this revolution needs to come from bottom up. So thank you once again. Yeah, we can take offline in this. Okay.
Sir, just one thing I want to mention. Since you mentioned the endosulfan problem, that is not because of aerosolization, that is because of the pollution of the water table. And when you use drones, you're reducing the pesticide by 30%, thereby helping the problem. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
सर ने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि क्रॉप की लोअर नियर द ग्राउंड या रूट लेवल पे प्रॉब्लम है. अगर हम ऊपर से स्प्रे करते हैं, जैसे शुगर केन की एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं, अगर शुगर केन की 12 फीट की हाइट पे स्प्रे कर रहा है तो नीचे तक परकुलेट कैसे होगा? क्योंकि इंसेक्ट तो बहुत समझदार है, वो नीचे वाले पत्ते पर जाके बैठ जाएगा. तो थोड़ा सा मैं बता देता हूँ कि जो हमारे इंसेक्टिसाइड है उनकी अलग अलग कैटेगरी होती है. एक होता है कॉन्टैक्ट, एक होता है सिस्टमेटिक. अगर तो वो कॉन्टैक्ट आपने इस्तेमाल किया तो वो इंसेक्ट बच जाएगा. अगर वो सिस्टमेटिक कैटेगरी में आता है और वो गया तो वो प्लांट के सैप में चला जाएगा, मतलब उसका जो जूस होता है, सेल सैप है, उसमें चला जाएगा और वो पूरे प्लांट में फैल जाएगा. तो प्लांट चाहे कहीं से भी सेल सैप करे, इंसेक्ट कहीं से भी करे, आइदर ऑन द टॉप पोर्शन और नियर द बॉटम पोर्शन, अगर उसने सेल सैप किया है तो वो जो पॉइजनस इंसेक्ट हमने इंसेक्टिसाइड स्प्रे किया था वो इंसेक्ट के अंदर चला जाएगा और मर जाएगा. तो गलती कहाँ पे होती है कि हमारे पास एक्सटेंशन सर्विस में उतने मैन पावर नहीं है जो ये बात किसान को बता सके. इवन इन द ड्रोन कंपनी बहुत सारे पायलट्स हैं, बहुत सारे कंसल्टेंट्स हैं, पर एक्सटेंशन एजेंट्स नहीं है जो बता सके कि कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ इंसेक्टिसाइड कौन सा किसके साथ करना है या फर्टिलाइज़र का कॉम्बिनेशन किसका किसके साथ करना है. अब 10 लीटर वाटर रिकमेंडेशन तो दे दिया. अब अगर हम फर्टिलाइज़र स्प्रे करते हैं, कुछ फर्टिलाइज़र ऐसे हैं जिनका सिनर्जिस्टिक इफेक्ट होता है, कुछ का एंटागोनिस्टिक इफेक्ट होता है. आम भाषा में समझ लिए, जैसे फ्रंट चेयर पे 2 लोग एक साथ बैठे हैं, मैडम अकेले बैठे हैं बहुत देर से, वो 2 लोग एक साथ बैठे हैं, पीछे निशा और उनके साथी एक साथ बैठे हैं, इनको बोलते हैं कंपेटेबिलिटी. तो सेम थिंग हैपन विद केमिस्ट्री, इंसेक्टिसाइड और फर्टिलाइज़र के साथ होती है. 2 खाद ऐसे होते हैं उनकी बनती नहीं है, अगर उनको मिला दिया तो वो ड्रोन के नोजल भी चोक कर देंगे और प्लांट को अवेलेबल भी नहीं होंगे. तो दूसरी भाषा में ये कह सकते हैं कि घाटा हो जाएगा. 2 ऐसे होते हैं कि अगर दोनों को साथ लगा दिया जाए तो दे वर्क मच बेटर देन अर्लियर. जैसे मैडम बैठे हैं, अगर इन दोनों को अलग अलग कर दें तो दूसरे से गॉसिप भी नहीं कर पाएंगे और स्ट्रॉन्ग क्वेश्चन भी पूछ नहीं पाएंगे. लेकिन 2 लोग बैठे तो मिल के कान में बात करके वो मोर इफेक्टिवली कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हैं। तो हमें उस चीज़ को समझना होगा। यही चीज़ ड्रोन में एग्रीकल्चर में कमी है। बहुत अच्छी क्वालिटी के ड्रोन्स आ गए, डीजीसीए ने बहुत अच्छे नॉर्म्स बना दिए, एसओपी बहुत अच्छी बना दी एग्रीकल्चर स्किल काउंसिल ने भी, लेकिन उस एसओपी को किसान तक समझाने वाला कोई नहीं है। अगर मुझे 1 मिनट और दिया जाए तो मैं एक और बात कहूँगा। एग्रीकल्चर इज़ द ओनली प्रोफेशन अडॉप्टेड बाय फोर्स, नॉट बाय चॉइस। मेरा जो किसान है वो चॉइस से नहीं आया, उसके पास लास्ट ऑप्शन था कि वो किसान बना। कोई भी अगर पियोन भी बनता है तो इट्स चॉइस, उसके लिए वो फॉर्म भरता है, फ़ोटो लगाता है, आधार कार्ड लगाता है, इंटरव्यू के लिए जाता है, सिफारिश के लिए फ़ोन करता है। जब उसको कहीं कुछ नहीं मिलता तो हम उसको खेती में लगा देते हैं। तो उस आदमी को समझाना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है। तो मेरा ये मानना है तो एग्रीकल्चर को हमें थोड़ा सा अलग तरीके से डील करना पड़ेगा, एक्सटेंशन सर्विस को स्ट्रॉन्ग करना पड़ेगा। जी, थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, everyone. Sir, we
All
can take
right,
it
can we
offline.
have a huge round of applause for our wonderful panelists? I request all of you to kindly be seated here for just another minute. And I would like to call Dr. Pranay Kumar on the stage to present them with a token of appreciation. Okay, so once again for Sri Karand Hall, Dr. Yogita Shukla, everyone. It's Dr. S.K. Yadav. And the Wing Commander Giriraj S. Punia. Once again, give it up for all the lovely panelists. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Can we have a group picture? All right, thank you so much, everyone.